All right, so here's another one of these situations. Okay, I'm sitting here at the gas pump, and a white woman says to me, and let me go on and say this before people start losing their feces. Okay, okay. In Straightway, the whole entire ministry is a straightway. I don't care if it's in Canada, Sweden, England, Germany, Africa, California, New York, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Michigan, Indiana, Wisconsin, Texas, and I'm just, and anyway, Louisiana. What I'm getting ready to say is this. In our ministry, because we are a diverse group of people, we really truly are. We are a melting pot of out of every nation on this earth, literally. We don't have hang-ups in our ministry identifying people for what they are. Like, for instance, Tomoko is a Japanese sister. She don't get offended because we call her Japanese. If someone is melanated, they flat out, they're melanated. That's been a term called black here in this country. They call them black. If they're white, we call them white. So we don't have any trouble with that. Some of you are really sensitive about stuff like that. Why? We don't know how. But, you know, if you had to identify someone and if they were actually committing a crime or something, wouldn't you have to give a description? And you are not going to tell them that you're colorblind because you can't, you know, I mean, right after all, you would say, well, I saw this guy, this big old black guy. He weighs about 230 pounds, blah, 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 and he's on. You would have to give that type of description. So anyway, nevertheless, I just met a white woman at the pump by the name of Stacy. And I'm not going to give her last name. But anyway, I'm over pumping gas. She's pumping gas. And she looks over me. She says, are you Pastor Dowell? I said, yes, ma'am. She says, and mind you, she's from Lafayette, Tennessee. She says, I watch you all of the time. We watch you all the time. You are so right and so correct in everything you teach. I said, wow. Well, thank you. She says, you know, she goes to another church in a different area, and I'm not going to mention that either because I don't want the people of this county up here to start giving her an alternate perspective of this particular place because I've lived here long enough to know how these people are. But anyway, so we sat there at the pump, talked maybe about 5 minutes, and she says, you know, my pastor, he talks about eschatology and end times and these people, how deceived they are in their doctrines. And I say, yes, ma'am. And she says, but you are so right. And then she says to me, she says, people are not ready. I said, you're right about that, ma'am. They're simply not ready. I said, as a matter of fact, it's oddly that you mention that because, you know, I'm going up to East Tennessee Sunday, first day. To speak to a group about preparation, what the scripture says, Bible says, and where you should have been at. And it's kind of a little late right now to tell people that you should be prepping, you should have been ready. But she says, you know, we have made the choice and decision to homeschool our children. And she says, man, if I had my choice and my way, I would love to come down there and live with y'all. That's what basically I would just love to do because y'all got it right. And it was an honor to meet her, very pleasant woman. Has her own business, and I said, well, you know, I'm thinking if possible, it's good to meet you because if possible, considering what we have on the land, we could probably send some business our way. But isn't it pleasant to be able to meet someone like that? And she's, I think what stuck out more than anything in this conversation right here is how she kept reiterating over and over again how right I am. She says, you know, at our church, basically, she said they look at a lot of Hebrew. And basically, what she's saying is, she says, it wasn't until I started looking at the Hebrew and I realized that Jesus was Hebrew and that he taught from Hebrew and he was Hebrew. And I see that you're teaching Hebrew. You know, basically, I'm paraphrasing on it, but basically, in a nutshell, she's saying, it wasn't until I started understanding the Hebrew when the Bible, everything opened up to me and it just all started to make sense. Every bit of it did. And we talked about canning jars, a few other things like that. And just utterly amazing. So there we are again. Another person is up here in this town that watches me. And mind you, I try to make light of the conversation because I never know which way it's going to go. But this was a very pleasant conversation with a highly intelligent white woman that's a business owner. And it was just a pleasant to have a conversation with. It really, truly was. It's amazing to me, even at that, and I'm going to change channels here, of how often that this does happen up here in Lafayette, Tennessee. It does. And most people know I live at anyway. But it's amazing how these conversations take place and strike up all of the time up here. By the way, I wanted to tell you something, man, while we on this for a second. You know, I just got finished coming from a gun store, and I'm not going to tell everybody because I'm not giving up my resources. I just got finished buying brass, 5.56, 1,000 rounds for $499. Can you believe that? A whole case. Man, I am so happy. You don't understand how happy I am. Man. I got another deal too. I ain't gonna tell you that either, but anyway. Well, Pastor Dowell, seems like there's a lot of things you ain't just telling us. Well, you don't have a need to know. You just need to know the information that I'm putting out is truthful. But it's amazing how that when people do listen to me, even though they're not in the ministry with us, that they make these changes in their life ends up getting affected. And the next thing you know, this man that everybody thinks is off his rocker because they are not steeped in the traditions of their family, traditions of the elders, and tradition of their community, and traditions of their church, or traditions of their geographical location, that they themselves start to really, truly pick up that Bible, go back to the original source or language, like the Old Testament written from Hebrew. So if you're going to understand what's presented to you in English, you have to look behind those words, see what the Hebrew meaning of it is, because they have literally, through translation, changed the whole meaning of the text by inserting English words and terms and phrases. And now that Bible says something totally different than what the original Hebrew or the Greek New Testament, which is commonly called the Septuagint, is actually translated from. So the Baruch HaDashah, which is commonly called the New Testament, I'm just glad to know that this lady right here got a good understanding of why she now understands the scripture. Very pleasant conversation. So hopefully one day, Stacy, depending on the type of things we got going on there on the community and stuff, hopefully one day you're able to come out and visit. I know you're going to be watching this video. I told you I was going to make this video without calling your last name. But and then maybe you'll be able to get a view of what we're doing. You're welcome. So you're welcome to come out there and visit sometime, anytime you like, anytime you want. So anyway, hey, I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. It sure is nice to be able to meet someone that's got their head on right, that exercises self-autonomy. She thinks independently and guess what? Intelligent enough. Well, she has to be pretty intelligent because she has her own business. To actually not believe the hype, but look at actual function. Who'd ever thought that with me preaching Jesus, teaching Jesus, that I would have all this type of opposition? One thing it does prove that there's a devil out there.